if you don't know what consolidating means, it just means we're bringing it all together. We are bringing all of our knowledge together on what we know about number patterns. And so, think about what we've spoken about before. We spoke about, hi, Amol. We spoke about having term numbers. And so I kind of just want to, let me move to the side. Let's talk about it here. We spoke about having an input into a number pattern. We spoke about having an output of a number pattern. My output is where I'm really going to find my pattern. My input is basically just the term number. So it's just the number in the pattern. So it's my term number. Think again on the class list. If you are number 10 on the class list, that doesn't mean your name is 10. It just means you are the 10th person on the list. And so if we say term number 10, it doesn't mean that the term is the value is actually 10. It just means it's the 10th number in the pattern. So that's our term number. We also know we can call these our Y, right? We call these our X values. So if I talk about an input, if I talk about a term number, if I talk about an X value, it all means the same thing. When we speak about an output, we speak about a term value. And so that's exactly as I said. Just because it's the 10th number in the pattern, it does not mean its value is 10. Its value can be 163. That is what we call, or that is what we mean when we talk about a term value. And then my term value is also my Y. So we use these terms, or rather we use these words, these naming, we use them interchangeably, but I can't, input goes with output. So I'm not going to talk really about an input and then a Y value. They kind of go together. So if you're using term number, then you must also use term value. And if I'm saying X, then I'm going to say Y. I'm not going to have in my equation X and then, TN. It doesn't work like that. And on that note, let's use this. My term number, we represent that with the variable N. And my term value, this is my term value when my number is N. What do I mean now, my term value when my number is N? If I say term 10, what I mean is my N is 10 and my T10 is the term value when it's the 10th number in the pattern. So we'll have a little demonstration of that now when we do this first question. So they say consider the sequence -1, -2, -3, -4. Not difficult. Can somebody tell me what am I doing to get to the next term? What do I have to do to go from one term to another term? %. Thank you, Tando. We -1. Okay. Yes, Bree. Okay, Bree, you have two minuses. So I'm not sure if you're saying -1, because that means +1. So just be careful with that. Subtract 1, yes. Okay, Bree, great. -1. Okay. So we -1. And so because we're minusing 1 to get from one term to the next, can somebody do this question for me? Answer, you can type it in the chat, raise your hand, whatever works for you. Describe the pattern in words for me. Itandile. Let us hear from you. I don't think you've answered a question for us in a while.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Itandile. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good. Are you sick?
Yes, ma'am, I am sick.
Oh no, you sound so sick. I'm so sorry. But do you have the answer for us?
Yes, ma'am. You subtract 1 to get to the next term.
100%. Can you give me another way to describe it?
You add 1 to get to the next term.
Not add 1. We are adding something, but it's not 1. thing? Do you know?
No, ma'am, I
You
don't.
add -1.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, subtracting 1 and adding -1 is the same thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Itandile, for that.
Thank you,
So
ma'am.
if we were going to describe our pattern in words, we are going to either subtract 1, which also means the same thing as adding 1 to get to the next term. Sounds confusing. It's really not confusing. Think about it. I minus 1, or let's take 5. 5 minus 1 gives me 4. But what if I had 5 plus -1? Can somebody tell me what that would be? Uma, you tell me what that would be? Immediately 100%, and no, not 100%. Okay, it's 4. Handel, you are so correct. It is 4, not -4, because think about it. This plus and the minus over here, plus and the minus multiply out, and that is going to give me 5 minus 1, which is 4. So if I minus 1, it's the same thing as adding -1. That's all that I mean. No problem, immediately. Okay. And then Isandilia, I'm lowering your hand super quickly. Or actually you lower it if you don't have anything else to add, or if you're answering the next question, then you can raise it again. Okay. So let's now fill in this table. Okay, so let's fill in this table. What is when my position of the term is number 1, what's my value? Anybody? It is, and let's number it here. When my position is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So those are my positions. And I see I have Samsung. Samsung, do you want to tell us your name? Nyaleti, 100%. It is -1. It's not 1 because remember this over here, my position is a +1, but my term value when the position is 1 is -1. Then I have -2, -3, -4. And now because these terms are going in consecutive numbers, I can just continue minusing 1. So this will be -5, -6, -7. And so when we have n over here, I want to say Tn is equals to something. And how do I get that? I have to do C over here, which says determine a formula for Tn. And so if you remember step 1 was we have to multiply. For n, you do have to use the rule. And so now we are determining this rule. We are determining a formula. And so how do I do that? The first step to finding this formula is you have to multiply your input with what you are adding or subtracting. My input in this case is n. Okay, why is my input n? My input is the term number. My output is the pattern itself. That's the term values. So I have to take my input and multiply it by -1. Okay, and that's going to give me -n. And then what I have to do is I have to see, okay, let's take what I've got so far and let's see what it gives me versus what I want. So if I go negative and my input, when my input is 1, I want my output to be -1. So let me put in my input over here, -1. And what does that give me? It equals to -1. So can you guys see in this case specifically, it actually gives me what I want it to give me. There's nothing I have to add or subtract. to give me what I want it to give me. So my rule is just Tn is equals to negative n. And so the third step is then to write it out in the correct format. We have to say my output, and my output in this case is Tn is equals to negative n. And Kuli, where did we lose you? Or where did you get lost? Okay, so that is A, B, and C, everybody. I know, Nkuni, you said you're a bit lost. So maybe tell me where it is you got lost. Was it up here when we were filling in the table, describing the pattern? Is it the determining of the formula? Where did you get lost? Anybody else, if you have questions, now is also the time to do so, please. The formula. Okay. So, Nkuli, do you understand the process? And maybe you can raise your hand so you can talk to me about this. But I just want to know, do you understand the process of what it means to find the formula? Do you feel what we are doing number patterns? This is our last lesson on number patterns. Next week, we will focus on functions and relationships. Okay, so while I'm waiting for Nkuli, I'm going to explain. So, yes, when we're finding a formula, this over here, I know a lot of people think this is the formula, but this is not a formula. We can only use this rule of minusing 1 if I know the terms before, you know? So if I ask you, what's the 100th number in this pattern? You won't be able to tell me unless you know what the 99th number is. Because if you know what the 99th number is, then you'll know, okay, to get from the 99th term to the 100th term, I just have to minus 1. But imagine now, how long is that going to take us to write out this pattern up until the 99th term just to get 100? So this helps us to find our formula, but it is not the formula. What we need is we need a formula where we can put in our input. And what is our input? Our input is this. I want to put in 100. I want to put in 100, and I want this formula to give me back what is that term value when my input is 100. In other words, when my input is 100, what is my output going to be? That's what the formula does. And so the way that we find our formula is we take this. We take what we have to do to get from one term to the next, and we multiply it by our input. And remember now, if you look here, our input is also known as the term number, which we can represent as n. We specifically use this notation when we deal with number patterns. You use n and tn. And so my input here is n, okay? So I have an input of n, and I need to multiply it by what I'm doing to get to the next term, and that is minusing 1. And that gives me negative n. What I then have to do is I have to go and say, okay, let me now substitute in one of my inputs. And I want to see what this gives me. And I went and I substituted one of my inputs in, which was 1. And so you'll see if I'm substituting in, I have negative n. Here my input, instead of putting in n as my input, I substituted a specific input here, which was 1. And what does that give me? It gives me negative 1. So now I've got a negative 1 based on this. But what number did I actually want it to be? Let's go and check. I wanted it to be negative 1. So now that I see, wait, that gives me what I want. When I say negative n, so when I say negative input, it gives me the correct output. So because it gives me the correct output, I can understand, sorry, I was reading the chat. I can stop at this point. So I don't have to move on further. But let's just say I put in an input, I substituted an input here and it gave me 5. But actually I want it to be 8. What I was going to do is I was going to add 3 to my formula to make it work. And you'll see that in the next example we do. So everybody, you can please give me a thumbs up, thumbs down on where you're at now. Yes, we can have a brain break at 6. Oh, also, I just remembered. I kind of put in a really bad brain break. So you guys are gonna hate me, but it's fine. It's fine. Hey, I see a thumbs up from Huli. Super happy to hear that. Uma, you'll see. Let's not make you hate me prematurely. Um, okay. So let us look at these. We have determined the general formula for the following. Itandile, do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am, I do have a question.
Do you need me to scroll
The
back up?
last one, ma'am, when we said -1
Mm-hmm.
uh times n. Ma'am, why is the negative n? Is it because 1 is like it's a variable or a number that is always like known? If there's no number, it's supposed to be 1.
Yes. So when we have a variable, it's actually super funny. When we have a variable, every single variable, every number has an invisible denominator of 1. Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
It also has an invisible exponent of 1. Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
And it also has an invisible coefficient. Do you remember what a coefficient is?
Yes, ma'am.
It has an invisible coefficient of 1. So if I said n times -1, the answer is -1n. But because I know every single variable has this invisible coefficient of 1, I don't have to put the 1 in. So I just erase the 1 and have it as -n.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Okay, cool. In the same way, when we're doing exponents, you don't really have to write an exponent like this n to the power of 1. We know that it always has this exponent of 1. So we can just leave out the exponent. And so that's what I've done here. I know all of the variables will have an invisible coefficient of 1. Thank you, Leila, for that. And also, I'm seeing a lot of random stuff. So I don't know if anybody asked a question. But yeah, guys, please let's not share private information because we are all minors. Well, not we all. You are all minors. And we want to protect everybody and we don't want any dangerous things happening and we don't know the crazy people out there. So let's be careful about the information that we share. Please let's not give out these personal informations. Anyway, sorry, on that note, Itandilia, did I answer your question? You happy?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, great. So moving on, we are now at 2a. Determine the general formula for the following. When they say the general formula, they're just talking about my algebraic rule. And this algebraic rule is going to look something like Tn is equals to something n plus or minus something. Okay, so that's what you always have to look at. Uma, let's not talk about schools. That's the private info. I know you may not think it's important or a big deal, but like I said, people do crazy stuff, and yeah, let's just protect our privacy. Okay, so if we look at this, I'm going from 5 to -1. Someone tell me what I did to do that. Thank you, Uma. Super quick with that one. -6, Itandile. Yes.
Sorry, ma'am. I just needed to lower down my hand.
Okay. So we have -6 and -6. So I see everybody in the chat. Thank you for that. We are minusing 6. So somebody tell me what is the first thing I'm gonna do. Now that I know I have to -6, if I'm trying to find this general formula, what do I have to do now? What's my first step, Rory-san? Oh,
Ma'am, are you gonna?
Mhm.
Or can I talk?
Yes, sorry, I lowered your hand by mistake, but yes, you are more than welcome to go.
Ma'am, I'm gonna say n times. N. I'm not sure if it's times or plus, but times
It's
6.
times. Times?
Yeah, times 6. -6.
There you go. Times -6, which gives me what?
Negative. No, is it still -6 or is it -10?
It's -6 in.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what.
Good stuff. Next step.
And then negative -6n times. Uh, yes, I'm lost. Yeah.
Okay. So, Rory-san, do me a favor. Let's number these terms, okay? What term number is 5? Immediately, do you want
Yeah.
to help? Yes, Rory-san?
What some number is 5?
Mm-hmm. Is 5 the first number in the pattern, the
Um,
second number, the third number? What is
oh,
this?
it's
Mm-hmm.
the first number.
It's the first number, right? So that means
Yeah.
my term number is number 1. What is
Yeah.
-1? My term number is what there?
No, 2.
2, right? And you can see where we're going with this. It's going to be 3 and 4 next, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. Now what I want to do is I call these term numbers. These are my term numbers and we call them in. We label them in. I want to know when I have a term number, which is my input, when I have a specific term number, I need to get these outputs. And what outputs am I talking about? These are going to be my outputs. You agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And so, where was I going with this? And so now that we've gotten this rule over here, we have -6 in. Let's see if this rule is correct. So let's put in a term number and let's see if this gives us the correct output. You with me?
Yeah. So can I put any term number or just gonna be a
Any
specific
term
one?
number. So you pick which one you want to put in.
1.
Okay, let's go with 1. So I have -6 times 1. Why did I put 1 here? Because remember, I'm replacing it with in now. You happy?
Yeah.
Okay. And what does -6 times 1 give me?
-6.
It gives me -6. But what's the output that I actually want? What should it be? What should the term number 1 be?
1. 1 or 2.
Remember? Oh, I said, what should the term number? What should the term value? What should the term value be for my first term?
Oh, 1. How about
Mm-mm,
5?
5. There you go. So I want it to be 5. I want my answer to be 5. But right now, this formula is giving me -6. Are you seeing that? So what do I have to do to get from -6 to 5? I have to add or subtract something. What am I doing?
-1.
What was that?
-1. Subtract 1.
We're not minusing 1. Let me show you what. Let's do a line. Okay, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Let us do this line, and then I'm gonna make this 0, and that's gonna be -1.
-7. -7. -7.
Not -7, -4,
Yep.
-5, -6. And then on this side, we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, Rory-san, let's count. We're starting at -6, right?
Yeah.
Now, count with me as I jump. I want you to count, like actually literally count as I do the jumps until I get to 5, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
11. So I moved 11 spaces. Now, when I moved those 11 spaces, was I plussing or was I minusing?
Minusing.
Why minusing?
Plussing.
Plussing. Why plussing?
Because you see, the number goes to 5
Mhm.
here.
So let me help you.
Mm,
Let me help you. When we move to the right on a number line, you must know we are plussing. When we move to the left
yeah.
on a number line, you must know we are minusing. Happy?
Yeah.
Cool. And so that means to get from -6 to 5, I need to plus 11. And so that means in my formula over here, I want to plus 11 to my formula. And then we can go and we can have my formula written out as Tn is equals to -6n plus 11. You happy, Rory-san?
Yes.
Cool. Thank you for answering that with me. And now what I want to show you
Welcome.
guys before, yes, Emilia.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
May you please explain how you got the rule, ma'am, the general rule? Because I'm a little bit lost with it.
This general rule over here.
Yes, ma'am, that one.
Okay. So remember what we did here. What we got from this first step was we got -6n.
Mm-hmm.
And what we got from this step is that -6n doesn't give me the output I want it to give. And so what I have to do is I have to plus 11 to get to the output I want. You seeing that?
Yes, ma'am.
And so what I did is I just combined it. I said -6n, and then I said plus 11. And all I did is I said that that is going to give me my output, right? Which means equals to, and Tn is my output. Happy with that?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Pleasure. Okay. And so now that we've done that, before we go on, I want to show you guys whenever you do your rule, you never just want to take your own word for it and say, yeah, that's the rule. Because what if we made a mistake, right? We always want to go and we want to do a check. And so when I do a check, I'm going to pick an input and an output. So let's say when my input is 4, I want my output to be, somebody tell me, when my input is 4, what do I want my output to be? Yes, Uma, it is coming. Not 8 immediately. Not 13, Rory-san. You close, but you were getting a sign.
-13.
-13, thank you. -13. What do I mean by that? This is my input. When my input is 4, I want my output to be -13. And let's check if this rule is going to give me the right things. So my term number 4, I want term number 4 to be -13. But let's check. So when I'm dealing with term, I want the value of term 4 to be 13. But let's use my formula to check if it gives me that. -6, and the term number here is 4 plus 11. Somebody tell me, what is -6 times 4? -24. Thank you, Bree. -24. And then somebody tell me -24 plus 11. -13. So as you can see now, it gives me the correct answer. I've built this machine and my machine works. That's how I like to think of it. When I do these formulas, I think of it as I'm building a machine, and once I've built it, I can't just go and give it to the people and say, yeah, I built your machine. No, I have to test it to check that the machine works the way I wanted it to work. And so once we've gotten this formula, you always have to check it to make sure that you got the correct formula. And so now that we've done the check, we can see our machine works well. And so we can move on. And we are going to move on into the brain break, which I told you guys was going to be bad. So let's not judge me. Okay, I couldn't think of any would you rathers. No, not would you rathers, of any one must goes. Okay, Liaho is saying, ma'am, do you multiply each term's position by 3 to get the term itself? For B. You multiply each term's position by 3. So this would be plus 3. So yes, it would be n times 3, and that would be 3n. And if I substitute, let's just say, so if I substitute in 1 over here, let's go 3 by 1, that gives me 3. But I know I want my first term, when my input over here, when my input is 1, I want my output to be 0. And so to get, I know, let's not judge my brain break, guys. Let's not judge it, okay? And so because I want my output to be 0 here, I'm gonna go, okay, minus 3, which means I have to go 3 in minus 3. And that is the formula. Okay, we have our brain break, Liahu. I hope that answered your question. I think it was you, Liahu, who asked. Yes, you're
Yes,
saying,
ma'am.
oh, great. Okay, does that make sense to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, guys, it's a word search. It's a word search. Let's not judge me, okay? At the time, I was like, oh, a word search would be fun. Anyways, I've enabled annotation. Let's go. Let's see how long it takes us. Let's see how long it takes us. Use highlighters, guys. Use highlighters so we don't block other letters. Hi, ma'am. When will we start with geometry? Because we've started already and it's hitting hard. Mateo, I'm not going to lie to you. We are not going to be starting geometry for some time. Because after this, we're doing functions and relationships. And after that, we're doing algebra. And algebra is like a 3-week long course. So yeah, we're not starting geometry for some time. But what I will say is geometry is always hard when you start. But you just have to practice and it will become easier. Also, I'm seeing nobody has actually circled a proper word as yet. Itandile, I see you got history. Someone got science. Okay. Yes. Trevor Mateo. So we have history. Someone had science. Where's science? Science. I see science. We have English. Okay. I'm gonna erase the circlings of not valid words. We have teacher. Where's teacher? We have teacher over there. This big block, I'm also erasing the block. Okay, here we go. We have writing. Someone circled writing. Yo, you guys are going too fast for me. Someone has grade. Highlighter. Writing, thank you. And grade. What else is there? Reading. Okay, we have reading. What is that? DRAF? FARD? Is that a word? Guys, if you circle the word, please try and highlight it off on the side because I am so confused. Okay, somebody has numbers. Somebody has numbers. There's that numbers. What is this word in the middle? ENTKAO. That's not a word, so I'm erasing that. Maths. I think Nkuli found math. That's great. Studies. I saw somebody wrote studies. That's why it's easier, guys. Just use the highlighter. Here, I'll do it for you. Studies. Thank you to whoever found that word. Studies. Oh, studies isn't even a word. Oh. Oh, it's social studies. Social studies. Okay, so we have social studies. Did anybody find the word spelling? Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat. You're having technical difficulties with the markers. Sorry, Layla, I didn't read the chat. Ma'am, I can't find my drawing icon. Sorry, Bree, I wasn't reading the chat. How do we write? So guys, if you're on your phone, you should see like a little button with like a pencil on it. Like, so click on the screen and then you should see like a button with a pencil on it. And then, yeah, you should be able to write. With that, Liaho, yes.
Ma'am, I can't even find a word. Like, ma'am, I'm struggling, ma'am. Like,
This is
yeah.
confusing, right? There's just so much going on. Whoever's
Yes, ma'am.
highlighting random words, you are evil.
Mm.
Whoever is highlighting wrong things is evil. So that's all I have to say, Liaho. I'm also as confused as you.
Ah, man. How am I evil, man? I'm just making my own words.
I don't know who is that's talking, but you're evil. You're confusing all of us.
And it's really fun.
No, man. Okay, guys, I think we're missing the word subjects. Did anybody find subjects? Hey, guys, stop highlighting random things. Learn. Oh, someone got learn. Okay, it's highlighted already. Music. We have music. Is music highlighted? Found the word classroom. Okay, I'll highlight that for you. Classroom, classroom, classroom. Okay. Yo, guys, I think I'm gonna stop this because I genuinely don't know. I was busy scribbling. Oh, sorry, Shady. How do you write? So you'll see all the settings at the bottom, right? Where you can like put your video on and unmute. There should be a button there that says annotate. Press the button there that says annotate. Shady, you can let me know if that works. Guys, sorry, I'm doing my best to highlight the wrong words. I mean, to unhighlight the wrong words. Rory-san, did you just circle a random word? Okay, guys, I think that's it. Let's see how many words we found. There's no point now. It's confusing. Yeah, it is confusing. I'm stopping. I am stopping our annotations. Ish, guys, we don't know how to have nice things. How do I do this? Disable annotation, yes, including.
Ma'am, I found homework.
You found homework. Honestly,
Yes. And I don't think no one saw because it scribbled this red thing, ma'am.
Yeah, even me, I was trying to find a word, but there's just so much happening, you know. I knew this was a bad idea from the start, but I mean, it was fun, kind of.
Hmm.
Thanks for actually finding words, though. We appreciate it. Let me erase all of this now before we get back into class. Found language arts. Whoever wrote no. Yes. We can't have nice things. Sorry, guys, this thing is not letting me erase, and it's making me mad. There we go. Annotate. Clear all drawings. I mean, I think we found a few words. Uma, I can't scroll because when I scroll it all of the writing comes with me. So yes, moving on now. I'm seeing thumbs ups. What is thumbs ups? Oh, for the words you found. Oh, I see a name I haven't seen before. Lucian? I think it's pronounced Lucian. Lucien? You can let me know if that's correct. Anyways, welcome. Consider the pattern shown below. So guys, this is the normal patterns that you were used to, that you'll be used to. You'll see a lot of these patterns that comes with pictures, but it's not any different to what we know. Why is it not different? It's not different because I can just count, right? So let's firstly, I can number them 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I also don't really like the matches, but it comes up a lot. So here we are. Okay. So we now have that. We have counted, or rather not counted, we have numbered our matches. I mean, we have numbered our terms. So we have term 1, term 2, and term 3 that's been given to us. And if we count the matches, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ow, guys, I'm so sorry. Something is happening to my eye. Okay. Yeah, so we have 6 matches in the first one. In the second one, I'm not going to recount all the matches. I'm just going to count the new matches that have been added. So I know there's 6 here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 matches here. Here, so I know with these 2 houses, there was 11 matches. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And so let's see what we did to get from one term to the next. We added 5 and we added 5. Yo, I see chats coming in, guys. I can't read without my glasses. Oh, it starts with 5 and then adds 4 each time. We're not adding 4 each time. We are adding 5 each time. Because oh yeah, to get from 6 to 11, we are adding 5. It's so bad. I can't even see it. Does it look okay? Okay, okay, okay. We are adding 5 matches every single time. And so let's fill in the table super quickly. Uh-oh, what did I do? Give me a second. There we go. Okay. And so what am I doing? I am gonna go in picture number 1. I have the number of matches as 6. In picture 2, there's 11 matches. In picture 3, there's 16 matches. Somebody tell me in picture 4, how many matches are they going to be? 21, 100%. Itandile, Tando, Pri, you guys are correct. Yes. And how did we get that? I just added 5. Okay, I didn't need a formula for that because I knew I went from term 3 to term 4. So I could do that. Leila, you're saying you found the rule. If you want to help, by all means, you know, put your hand up and we can talk about it. Oh, there we go. I didn't actually think you would. Yes, Leila.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Good. You helping me or you have a question?
No, I'm helping you, ma'am.
Okay, cool. Let me just like minimize this chat quickly. Okay, cool. Let me know. I'm assuming you're answering B.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell me what to do.
First thing first, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
it's N representing the message. So I think we just said P for the message picture, the picture number.
Yes.
But
So, yes.
times the rule times 5.
Okay, am I saying P times 5?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I take my input times 5. Yes, you're right. Yes.
Equals P5
Mm-hmm. 5P.
and then P5 to if we tie sorry ma'am,
That's okay.
and still yet we don't, if we test out with the number with the picture number 1, it won't give us the answer. So I
Mm-hmm.
minus what I got from P5 with the picture number 1,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm gonna give you 1, so it's 5p plus 1, which is the rule.
100%. So we have 5p from the first step. From the second step, we got that we needed to plus 1. And now, if we look at step number 3, can you give me what's my like final equation? What is it going to be from start to finish? Something equals something, something, something.
Don't really know, ma'am. I think it's
Okay, you got this part correct. You said 5p plus 1. Now you just need to tell me, what does that give me? 5p plus 1 equals to what?
TN,
Tn,
I
right?
think.
It would be
Yes,
Tn. Except in this case, what is our Tn called?
matchsticks, matches.
Mm-hmm. It's called M. So here we're going to say M is equals to 5 times P plus 1. Happy with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you
Thank
want to
you.
stay for the check?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell me what pair are you picking to check with me?
I would like to check 3 and 2.
Okay, so what do you mean 3 and 2? So pick one. You're going to pick one like this. So you're either picking 2 and 11 or 3 and 16.
3.
Okay, so let's go 3. So when I put in 3, I'm going to put my input in, right? And then you're going to tell me if it gives you what you're supposed to get. So 5 times 3 is what?
5 times 3 is 15
Mm-hmm. And then
plus 1 equals 16.
16. And is that what I wanted to get?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So that's how we know that our formula is correct. So thank you very much for that, Leila. You did wonderfully on that question.
You're welcome.
I don't know what's going on in the chat. The rule is, so Itandile, you are close. It's not P is equals to 5P, it's M is equals to 5P. Tando, yes, 5P plus 1, but if you were to write out a full rule, it would be M is equals to 5P. Okay, Liako, you're saying my bad, so I'm thinking you got why it was wrong. Okay, Itandile, yes, do you have a question for me?
Ma'am, no, I have a question. I just want to answer C.
Oh, lovely. Okay, so answer C for me. What am I doing here?
Since we did our formula, which is M is equal to 5P plus 1. We're going to say M is equal to 5, substitute P with 100, then we bracket plus 1. Then after, we're going to say M is equal to 5 times 100, which is 500 plus 1. Then its M is going to be equal to 501.
100%. And you did that so easily. Well done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Pleasure. And Bree, just to answer your question, Tn is equals to M plus 5 is not correct. Because remember, what you've done there is you've done a whole new equation. So Bree, if you're not understanding why it's not correct, maybe pick up your hand and we can talk about how I got the answer I got. But no, Tn is equals to M plus 5 is not correct. Okay. This, I'm thinking 4 minutes left. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna do another one. Let us go and, oh no, I already did that one with you guys. Okay. Let us fill in this. Okay, so here we have a picture number and we have the number of toothpicks. And so picture, it low-key doesn't make sense. Bree, what low-key doesn't make sense? Mine or yours? 1, 2, 3. You also need Couple minutes to answer questions. Yours. Okay, good. So yeah, you'll start to get the hang of it slowly but surely. But yeah, if you do have a question, always ask. And here again, it's not matchsticks now, it's Andile, but it's toothpicks. I think you were the one who said you didn't like matchsticks. But yeah, guys, so before we end off, we're not going to finish this question, but what I want you guys to see is it's very repetitive. Number patterns are very, very repetitive. You number the terms. If there's matchsticks, you're going to count the matchsticks in each one. Here, I knew there was 4, we plus 3, that's 7. Yeah, I know there's 7 in this 2 blocks, plus 1, 2, 3, that's going to be 10. So yeah, you follow the same thing all over. Plus 3. To get from 7 to 10, I'm plussing 3. How do I find my formula? I take this plus 3 and I multiply it by my input. My input would normally be n, but because they've given me p over here, I'm going to use p instead of n. And so I'm going to say 3p. But now let's see, does this work? When my p is number 2, I want my output to give me 7. And so let's go 3 times 2. That's going to give me 6, not 7. To get to 7, what I have to do is plus 1. And that's how I got my rule. 3p plus 1. And then to write it out in full, my output is equals to 3p plus 1. And what is my output? Normally it's tn, except in this case, they've given us that they want us to use this variable t. And so my formula for this one is, and where can I write this? Here. T is equals to 3p plus 1. And with that, that is the end of our lesson. If anybody has any questions, please ask now.